Two separate bomb blasts have rocked the Zabul and Parwan provinces. At least 13 people were killed and 37 more were wounded in the brutal attack. Interior Minister of Afghanistan has made the announcement today. A roadside bomb struck a bus in Zabul province overnight, killing at least 11 people and injuring 28 more. The blast happened in the Muskan camp area in the district after a bus was targeted by a roadside bomb. The ministry has added that the bomb was placed by the Taliban. Another bomb blast struck Parwan province, killing 2 civilians. The authorities have said that women and children were among the 9 people wounded, and they have been hospitalized. No terrorist group, including the Taliban, has claimed responsibility for the horrific attack.
At least 215 people have been wounded in the latest outbreak of violence in and around the Al-Aqsa mosque compound in occupied East Jerusalem. Israeli security forces fired tear gas and stun grenades at Palestinian protesters who hurled stones and other objects in return. Already simmering tensions are being further inflamed by a planned march later on Monday by right-wing Israeli nationalists for an event they call Jerusalem Day. Well, there have also been explosions of stun grenades and tear gas inside Al-Aqsa Mosque. It's understood that people were staging a sit-in protest and security forces attempted to clear them. Palestinians said they wanted to guard the mosque ahead of the nationalist march.
Meanwhile, an exchange of fire on Friday between 3 Palestinian gunmen and Israeli border police at an IDF base. The incident left 2 Palestinians dead and critically wounded the third. No soldiers were injured, according to the police, and 3 guns, 3 knives, and bullets were seized. The injured Palestinian was evacuated to a hospital in Afula in northern Israel. On Wednesday, Israeli troops killed a Palestinian teenager during clashes near the Palestinian city of Nablus, and an Israeli teen shot earlier in the week by a Palestinian gunman died of his injuries.
A man fatally shot 6 people and then killed himself at a birthday party. The incident happened just after midnight in a mobile home park. A gunman opened fire during a birthday party in Colorado Springs, killing 7 people, including his girlfriend. This after the suspect drove to the residence, walked inside, and began shooting people at the party. Authorities in Colorado have stated that the suspect spared the children at the party. Another victim died at the hospital later. The motive of the crime has not been ascertained as yet. The police has not released the identities of the shooter or the victims.
This is the family of Ihab al-Wazni, a well-known organizer in Iraq's anti-government protest movement. He was shot dead the night before, just outside his home in Iraq's southern city of Karbala. Ihab's mother told Al Jazeera he had received numerous threats from paramilitary groups backed by Iran.
The militias are everywhere in the streets. They have a list which includes the names of all the activists. They will kill them one by one. Today they killed my son, and soon they'll kill another.
The funeral procession arrived in the scorching afternoon heat, their religious oaths punctuated with desperate cries for survival. The parties are killing us, screamed the men who once stood by Ihab's side in Karbala's protest squares demanding change. But is anyone listening? Inside, Ihab's family said their final goodbye, their anger directed at both the killers and the government, who failed to protect him.
their soldiers returning from the front line to a cheering crowd and a gaggle of journalists, Chad's military claims the battle against the rebels in the country's north is done. Whether the photo op in front of press, both foreign and domestic, truly marks an end to the fighting is as yet unclear. The rebel group stated it wasn't aware of any ceasefire, and previously military authorities have said they'd won, only for clashes to continue. In April, fighters crossed the border from Libya and moved towards the capital N'Djamena, threatening to capture it in a stand against the president Idriss Déby. Déby was killed visiting troops on the front, and a military council led by his son took over, promising an 18-month transition to elections.
With increasing number of COVID infections across the nation, the virus-induced black fungus or cases of mucormycosis are on the rise as well. Usually found in COVID patients with high diabetes level and prolonged ICU treatment, the fungus infection can prove to be fatal if they are left unattended. Doctors and experts have warned against taking the black fungus lightly, as it can lead to extensive surgeries like removal of lung lobes or whole lung from the patient's body.
We know that the court in Evry, just outside Paris, has dismissed the case which was filed by the French-Vietnamese activist outside in the French court against 14 pharmaceutical multinationals. The court ruling there that it did not have the jurisdiction to judge a case involving the wartime actions of the US government. And we know that the lawyers for Monsanto, which is now owned by Dow, had argued that the companies acted on the orders of a government and that since the US is exempt and doesn't have to answer to a foreign court, neither should the companies. So it seems that the court in France has ruled in their favour. We know that the plaintiff, though, is planning to appeal. She's still very combative. She says she hopes to fight on and get justice for all the many victims of Agent Orange.